And we are back. It is Wake Up Woodward chat family. Go ahead and smash that like button. Let's run up the likes on this Detroit Pistons Game 5 game day. And they have to win or they are done. They've battled well, but it ain't going to matter tonight if they don't find a way to push the series back to Detroit. And you know what? They've battled so well that I don't put this out of the realm of possibility for them to do something historic. But I know a lot of people are saying it's time to stick a fork in the Pistons. But if they're going to do anything, you know what? It starts game by game, and that's tonight. I feel like Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, especially after that kind of scoreless fourth quarter and 4-point second half, they've just been the difference makers completely for the New York Knicks in this series, and that's what you have to have if you're the Knicks. And nothing the Pistons have been able to do has really worked to slow them down. The best options have only put them in foul trouble. So tonight, I want to break down what are the keys for the Detroit Pistons to go out there and get a dub and be able to stave off some of these late game breakdowns, which have cost them several times in this series.
Well, I know there's a lot of people in the chat, particularly Stick, who's going to cringe at what I'm about to say. Cade needs more help. What? Wow! All the people who were like way too on the Cade slander yesterday are crazy. Shout out Stick, by the way. Not mad at him, but it is what it is. It is what it is. We all know that we disagree with his thoughts on Cade.
He just keeps trying to simplify it, and it's not as simple as, okay, Cade just need to overcome all. It's not as simple as that.
But I've got some numbers for you all that really kind of hit home what Cade has been working with in this series. JB, do you have the one that starts off with Malik Beasley?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Malik Beasley, 2024-2025, regular season, he's averaging 16 per game on 43% from the floor and 42% from behind the arc. In the playoffs, 14 points per game on 35% from the floor and 31% from behind the arc. Furthermore, Jalen Duren in the regular season was a plus 36. I know plus minus isn't the gospel, but we all know Duren has some limitations and has had some moments where he hasn't looked that great. In the playoffs, he is by far the worst on the team at minus 42 and is well below what his regular season numbers are. Yeah. So my point with all of this is that if you want to say that Cade hasn't been as efficient as he should be and that he's been a little bit too turnover prone and he's had some moments down the stretch where he hasn't come through, I get that, but come on. You can't look at this and say that it doesn't play a factor and that teammates don't matter in the National Basketball Association. But wait, there's more. Go ahead, JB. I got one more about Ausar Thompson and Isaiah Stewart. Ausar Thompson, regular season minutes per game in the fourth quarter. Whoops, my bad. These are fourth quarter minutes per game. I effed this up. 5.2. Playoffs fourth quarter minutes per game, 3.3. And I know a lot of this has to do with him being in some foul trouble, but it hasn't always been foul trouble. And we all know Ausar Thompson, he's had an impact. We'll get to that in a second. Isaiah Stewart, missed games in the regular season, 10 out of a possible 82. Missed games in the playoffs, 3 out of a possible 4. All of this matters. All of this matters as to why the Pistons aren't winning this series. It's not just what Cade didn't do. That's why teammates matter so much. Did you guys know that the Minnesota Timberwolves, Julius Randle, a notorious playoff underperformer, is averaging 22 points per game on 46% from behind the arc this series?
Sheesh.
Did you know that Karl Anthony Towns is shooting 50% from behind the arc this season? Did you know that Tyrese Halliburton in the playoffs is the third leading scorer on his own team after Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner? Did you know that? Mm-hmm. Did you know that in Game 4 last night, Steph Curry had 17 points on 25% from behind the arc? What was one of the biggest reasons they won? Brandon freaking Podziemski had 26 on 6 of 11 from behind the arc. Teammates matter. And I know that some players for the Pistons have come through at big moments, like even Jalen Duren at times. You can look at Tim Hardaway Jr., you can look at Tobias Harris, but if we would have known that Isaiah Stewart would miss 3 out of the 4 series, that Ausar Thompson would be relegated in the fourth quarter a lot of times to not being on the court, that Malik Beasley would be terrible, and that Jalen Duren would underperform, would we have expected the Pistons to win this series?
No.
Absolutely not. Just wanted to give this context. The teammates around Cade have to be better, even more than Cade has to be better.
They do, and that's the thing. It's like, how do you weight this? When people do go and they criticize Cade, I just want people to understand the criticism that you're trying to levy at him is that you're doing this. You're bypassing the fact that you already know he's a star, and you're saying, hey, to be one of the greatest of all time, you need to do X, Y, and Z. Because the exercise here that when you look at what the other players are getting and the help that's around them, they're putting up these stats with a lot less gravity being absorbed around them. They're able to put up these stats with a lot more help around them and a lot better outside shooting, which we know is one of the keys here. That's the reason why when you look at Cade Cunningham, the reason why people, if you can say that you're disappointed, then you're telling me that as a number 6 seed up against a number 3 seed, missing your best interior defender who defended one of their star players the best, missing, and you guys believe that the reason why the Pistons aren't up right now is because of a few plays that Cade could have done here or there, then you're calling Cade Cunningham unquestionably and undoubtedly a person on the verge of superstardom.
Right.
Because what it shows is everything he's done to get us here. The people who chip away at, oh, he had a turnover here or there. Do y'all understand where we would be if that man, knock on wood, had gotten the same predicament that happened in season 2? That's what I'm saying. If you guys know we don't even have an opportunity for him to miss the last second shot with him not there, then what are we actually talking about? That at that point in time, and I'll be fair to it, it's hurt feelings because we want to see our guy who we believe can reach that pedestal to do it. And I do believe he still has opportunity in this series to continue to at least change even the narratives and the most hardened minds against him as a player. But when you look at the progress of this squad and the fight of this team all season, their bounce back against adversity, their ability to know, hey, we did battle. That's where you don't close, and the star power of a Cade Cunningham, that's where you don't necessarily close the door on this team, but it does. It starts with, if Cade's going to show up and at least give you triple-double or close to it, what is everybody else around him going to do?
Yeah.
This was the reason why. People weren't just confident in what the Pistons could do going into the playoffs because of Cade Cunningham. We were talking about, oh, Malik going to get 4 and 5 shimmies a game. Jalen Duren's going to average a double-double. He's going to get a double-double every game and get the stocks up. It hasn't really been that. We've appreciated some of the – we talked about, you know what, Ausar Thompson. I was wondering, is this the playoffs where we see Ausar Thompson step towards stardom?
Right.
Or be a little bit more of the same? And those are things. So when we were going into it, it's not just Isaiah Stewart not being there, but it was all of the other keys to it that have to step up. Because in my opinion, they still have more than enough to have won of these games without B. Stu.
Yeah.
And that's where the spotlight is always going to shine the brightest on the star in Cade Cunningham. And you're hoping that when you get an opportunity in the clutch tonight, and if it's a close game like all of these have been, that Cade Cunningham has a much better last 2 minutes to this game than he did the prior one, especially with talking about cleaning up those turnovers. Because that's where this thing is going to start and end. It's how are you helping yourself versus how are you shooting yourself in the foot. You cannot go out there and allow this in crunch time. It doesn't matter if you've won the rebound battle. You cannot allow them, when it's in the clutch moments, for them to be getting the offensive rebounds, for them to be out battling you for your second chance opportunities. Because these are vital and important, and it shows to what level of motor, what level of hustle, and what level of desperation you're playing with. Because what did I see from the Knicks in the last 2 games? Desperation. That's what I saw from them. I saw desperation. And I saw a lot of fight from the Pistons. I'm not going to crush them too much because they've been in these battles.
They fought, yeah.
They have fought. They lost a 1-point game, 94-93, in this era of basketball. That's them going out there and bringing and imposing their identity against a team that's realistically better than them. But it's still a situation where if they go out and they do what I believe they can, which is go out there and handle this game to the tune of a 10-point plus victory, you're coming back home with this rabid fan base knowing it's just one game for it all. You have all the confidence in the world, but for this squad, I don't believe all the pressure. I think all the pressure is going to consistently be on the Pistons, whether they're underdogs or not, or whether they've had a cute season or not, because they understand what they've let slip away. And that's what I'm hoping spurs them when we talk about game by game to understand. You dropped one in New York. You dropped one here in Detroit as well.
Oh, yeah.
Directly can point to game 1 and game 4.
Directly.
They should have
almost the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's been disappointing, but all I wanted to do with that is to just I don't feel like Cade's lack of help has really been put to numbers like I just did. There have been some great examples, and I want to do one more thing that I found today, and this is one of these is from shout out Locked On Pistons Kuka Heel. He's a big Ausar Thompson guy, and I don't blame him for that. But when I talked about Ausar's fourth quarter minutes, you might be looking at out of the Beasley struggles, the Duren struggles, the Isaiah Stewart unavailability, the Ausar Thompson lack of fourth quarter minutes. You might look at the Ausar Thompson one as maybe the one where I was reaching a little bit. But from what I've seen, I understand that offensively he's limited, but Jalen Brunson has been going off in fourth quarters. And JB, do you have that coup tweet about how Jalen Brunson's numbers when Ausar Thompson is in the game? Jalen Brunson's stats this series when Ausar Thompson is on the floor. Game 1, 6 of 14, 15 points, 50.4 true shooting. That's not a good true shooting, by the way. Game 2, 3 of 9, 12 points, 4 turnovers, 51% true shooting. Again, not a good one. Game 3, 2 of 8, 10 points, 47% true shooting. And Game 4, 4 of 10, 11 points, 50.6% true shooting. And we all know that Ausar Thompson, he's not directly on Brunson every single play, but we all know that Ausar is the best perimeter defender on the team, and him being out there just gives the Pistons more of a defensive presence, especially knowing that Isaiah Stewart has been unavailable for games 2 through 4. And I'm not saying that it's directly correlated with Ausar Thompson not being in the game in the fourth quarter a ton, but Jalen Brunson, this is another tweet. This is one that Koo actually quote tweeted. Jalen Brunson, fourth quarter points versus Detroit in round 1. Game 1, 12 points. Game 2, 14 points. Game 3, 12 points. Game 4, 15 points. He's the first player since 97-98 to score 12 points in the fourth quarter of 4 straight playoff games. Coincidence? Maybe. I just think that when you're down 3-1, first off, Ausar can't get in foul trouble, but there were a couple of games where he could have gotten more minutes where he wasn't in danger Will Robinson territory, and I'd like to see that tonight personally. They're down 3-1. Why the F not?
Well, the problem is I think that they're just doing this stuff in reverse. I believe that Ausar needs to be the fourth quarter defender on Jalen Brunson. In all of the 3 quarters, like I've been saying even before the series started, you got to let Ausar roam. Ausar is best when he's roaming. If he's spending all his time, even think about what you're doing to all of your strengths, right? Ausar thrives at being able to play in the passing lane. We talk about where's the transition, where's the fact that this team was second in the league at scoring in transition off steals. We talk about the fact that this team was able to take blocks and rebounds and go the other way in a heartbeat. Well, when you're taking Ausar Thompson away from all of that, you're taking a big part of who your team is, and you're just saying, hey, go out here and throw 4 fouls in the first 2.5 quarters on Jalen Brunson. Now, how effective can you be the rest of the way when it's winning time and you know what the assignment is, and we know that he is capable of at least slowing Jalen Brunson a little bit, even if it's putting fouls. If he's going to score, at least you're stopping the clock, you're able to strategize, you're able to catch your breath a little bit. And that's where I do hope that one of the main strategies of tonight is the Detroit Pistons saying, you know what, let's continue to defend Jalen Brunson man-to-man, because I thought the Detroit Pistons man-to-man defense was epic. Knicks and Pistons aren't struggling. Both these teams are strapping up right now. They're in each other's jerseys. Watch the game. And it's what we should be able to appreciate as supposed Detroit Pistons fans. Unless, Detroit sports fans, unless you guys are that so far disconnected from some of the other good defensive teams of the past. This has been a good Detroit Pistons team. It's just the Knicks have been able to match them without that toughness and that heart and that spirit and that fight of Isaiah Stewart. And that's where I do believe, what do they use Isaiah Stewart for? Be a Tasmanian devil on defense. I've been preaching that since they drafted him. And they were starting, I'm going to say, bring him off the bench. Let him be the Tasmanian devil off defense. I believe you need that element. And right now, the only player that can realistically do that in this roster, in this entire lineup, and do it effectively from the 1 to the 5 is Ausar Thompson.
And that's what's so tough, because now you're looking at least in these last 3 games, where Isaiah Stewart can't play and Ausar Thompson just really isn't playing in the fourth quarter.
Watch this. So if they go Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns, pick and rolls, you don't even – if Isaiah Stewart's there, yes, he's one of your best. He's one of the league's best. Right. One of the league's best perimeter defenders and pick and roll defenders. When you have Ausar Thompson on Jalen Brunson chasing him around, you know what they're going to do? They're going to go to the other side of the court and pick and roll you to death. They're going to do those different types of things, which puts Karl-Anthony Towns in that downhill action against no rim defender because Stu's not there, and Ausar is out on the all the way out at half court chasing around Brunson. That's where I'm just like, I don't know how effective it truly is to have him be somebody that can marginally slow him down, but you're paying for it with fouls.
Yeah.
This isn't like the Shaq thing where we're like, well, you know, you got 6 fouls to go. No. People, Eldon Campbell went into the game to foul. Ben Wallace wasn't in the game to foul. Ben Wallace was in the game to make Shaq's life a living hell, not to foul. It was to go out there and play the best defense you could without fouling. Even the blocks we've seen him have on Shaq, it was all ball. There's some of the best blocks you've seen anybody have on Shaq, I think, in history of the game. I'm just going to stamp that.
That's a fact.
And that was the thing. You need Ausar to go out there and play, if he's going to be on Jalen Brunson, just good defense. Even if it's physical, it's smart defense. Not the reach-ins in the half court, not that you just bump into him and that type of stuff, because you know how they're going to call this. And that's where you got a short time to be able to mature defensively in the series, because you're playing against some savvy, experienced people who've already gone through playoff heartbreak. Look, these Pistons this year, if they lose, that's going to be a playoff heartbreak pie that I do believe next season they're going to have that much more to play with. Yeah. And you got to think the Knicks have that. They have that right now.
But I was told, like, there are no stepping points if you lose in your first playoff series.
You can't learn from it.
Can't learn from nothing.
I didn't like that take from State, dog.
Sorry, people like that should have to be banished to an island. Like, literally banished to an island.
Still no word on Isaiah
mandatory
Stewart.
vasectomies.
Yeah. And Kool-Aid, I don't know if we up against a break. I did want to ask you about one of my keys to victory and something that, you know, we've been – oh, we just keeping it rolling? Okay.
Yeah.
So one of my keys to victory, and it's something that I brought up on yesterday's show, I get worried about this team when it's strictly half court. And, you know, in Game 4, there was a lot of, okay, when they get locked into just strictly half-court offense, there's a lot of one-on-one ball, and they don't seem to have a plan. And when they do have a plan, they don't seem to be assertive in executing that plan. And we know that this team has made their bread and butter off running the break most of the year and using that to set up the half court. But in a playoff series, and you got to get a Knicks credit, they've taken that part of the game away from the Pistons. So when that ball slows down and Cade's not out there, let's say, then I really have worries as to what they're going to do. Like, you've seen times where they'll throw it to Tobias in the low post and he's not decisive on whether he wants to post up, face up, or pass out. Like, there's different instances.
The spirit of Corliss Williamson, Tobias is posting up against people that he is taller than and has the weight advantage every single time.
Right.
He's not Cat.
Yeah.
They're putting, like, Bridges and people. I'm like, bro,
and he's just not assertive in those
chicken.
sets. So, but do you have, like, a solution for what the Pistons offense can do in the half court when they get locked into that?
Yeah, listen, one thing they have to do is just get into their sets faster.
Yeah.
I know that they want to slow the pace, but when you allow the Knicks to defend you full court, that means that now you're going to start your offense with about 14 seconds on the clock. And if you're trying to go through your methodical pace, you're going to look up real quickly and realize there's 7 seconds left on the clock. And that's been killing them. And that's something that I've seen on the rise, especially in playoffs. They will pick up full court because they know it's going to take off at least 6 to 8 seconds off that shot clock. When in general, usually you pass the ball in and it only takes 4 seconds to get up. Mm-hmm. So I do believe starting fast, at least getting into your sets a little bit faster, playing with a sense of urgency. Mm-hmm. These are things that I see that are missing. And then when you're talking about that offense, like even the shot that Cade hit, or shot, and he missed it, and they say it's his shot, it's his in rhythm. I'm more comfortable with Cade doing the mid-range shot, stepping into it, not coming off of the spin that he did and put up the shot and then missed off the back iron, because I haven't played in NBA. I've played with pro players, played in Pro-Am, played at college. My shot tends to, and I've seen this with other players too, and when we sat down and helped to profile certain players like Andre Blatch of the Wizards, shout out to him.
Shout out.
Hey, listen, that was one of the things we knew. When you're coming off of that, you're trying to do that fadeaway, our bodies usually try to overcompensate when we're leaning back and you hit that back rim. Yeah. And so that's where I'm hoping that they simplify things and get back to the basics with the Cade Cunningham. And go back to the game 2 results too. Aggressiveness. aggressiveness.
Yes.
Cade Cunningham forced the issue. Cade Cunningham was getting to the free throw line. Cade Cunningham was finishing at the rack, and it didn't matter what they were doing defensively. And remember, that was the game after that OG Anunoby was really, really like sick. Like, yo, no, we're going to figure this thing out. You got to get back to that because you're not winning this game without Cade. You talk about the struggles they're having. It's because they don't have that secondary ball handler that they can realistically play with Cade for a long period of time.
Right.
This is where if Ausar Thompson's getting tired out on the defensive end, how effective is he on the offensive end? That's the point. You put the ball in his hands, and now what are they going to do? They're going to get all the way up in his jersey, and he's not necessarily the most adept ball handler. Is he a good playmaker? Yes. But then all of a sudden you see them take 1-2 dribble, bounce off their foot, and it's going the other way. And that's where they're going to have to play, in my opinion, a lot through Cade Cunningham. And the people have to hit their open shots.
That's
it
a
goes
big
right
part
back
of
to
it.
the beginning of this segment. When Cade Cunningham is getting double teamed, you guys got to hit the shot. Because what's happening when he's hitting that lane and he has to second guess? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is he thinking about, he's open, but I'm going to take the shot because I don't know if he's going to hit it? That's not the place you want. You want that rhythm where everybody's just kind of running, you feel that flow. And that's where I'm hoping that they get more into their dribble handoffs. I think their offense is a good offense, but just get into it.
Yeah.
Play with a little bit more sense of urgency. And for players like Ron Holland and some of your energy guys, don't scale back your energy, but make sure you're playing within the flow of it. Because there were a couple possessions that were given away when they were trying to make the right plays, but it wound up being the wrong result.
I am so glad, like this is like music to my ears, that people can actually acknowledge good looks being just clanged.
Yes, horrible.
That's a part of basketball.
It's horrible, yeah.
Like is Anthony Edwards more of a killer than Cade because he can mind control Julius Randle's threes to go in when they've never gone in at this clip in his freaking life? Shit like that happens all the time. And obviously I know Anthony Edwards is more of a killer than Cade right now because he has more experience, but you understand my point.
No.
It's that you mentioned the half-court offense. There are stretches where there's really – you're talking about Tobias Harris when he gets it on the low block not being aggressive enough. You're talking about Jalen Duren's offensive limitations being more exposed in the playoffs than in the regular season.
Pause.
Absolutely.
My gosh. Cat got foul number 4 at the beginning of the third quarter, and they didn't throw the ball to Duren once.
Yeah, they didn't go at him.
Whoa.
Bro. Oh, my gosh.
I would have took him
it
off
got
the
to the
dribble.
point we were screaming it from media, dog.
Yeah.
Like, my voice is literally, like, on the verge. Me, Eric Vincent, and some others. I don't even mean to get like this. I'm just sorry. Just from a strategy standpoint, it was like,
we was doing the same shit at the watch party.
Throw him the ball.
Yes, bro. And Jalen Duren does have a handle. He can put the ball on the floor. I would have lived and died with that. At the high post, get a screen, go at him.
Like, I would have just given him one of these. After he got that 4th foul, give it to Duren in the post. And the play is, I don't care if you make it or miss it. Just try to put him through the rim.
Exactly.
Just period. They needed to do that at least once or twice, man. It's crazy that they have nobody in the post that they can throw the ball to, like the Pistons had with Corliss Williamson. Like, think about how good Rasheed was in the post, and then they're like, get on off there, Corliss Williamson, running pick and roll now with your bench guard and Lindsey Hunter. And that, again, plays back to your aspect of what this team has to do to step up as well.
Well, it's not just Duren and Tobias. It's the fact that when Ausar is out there, as much as I love him being out there for his defensive prowess, and he's shown it in those Kuka-Heel stats, those are power stats. Shout out to you. Those are those are like porn to me, for the record. Offensively, I don't think that he hurts the team offensively as much as people say, but
You telling me Cool sent you porn?
No way.
I stole it.
Different
And gave him
territory.
credit. I stole it and gave him credit.
Shout
But
Shout out Cuba.
we also have to acknowledge that he has some offensive limitations, and I don't think he's moving without the ball quite as effectively as he was in the regular season.
Not.
And then, of
He's
course,
compromised.
Tim Hardaway Jr., with respect, because he had a amazing Game 3, has been somewhat inconsistent. And he's not always hitting his open shots in the half court as well. And that's what I'm talking about, is that there are moments in the half court where the only effective offense is just Cade, go do something. And I know that that's what a lot of people want, him just taking 40 shots every game. I still don't think that that's the most effective offense that the Pistons can run. However, at this point, there are times where it's all you really have.
Yeah.
It's all you really had at points during Game 2. It's not all you really had, but a lot of what you had in the third quarter of Game 4. It was just Cade creating magic. I wish that there was more that he could lean on, but unfortunately, too many players are underperforming, as I said. And again, I'm not going to kill the young guys like Duren, but it is what it is.
And that's where I'm like, give him a chance. We didn't get to see
Right.
Duren get the chance. They didn't throw him the rock. And I saw him post heavy a couple times, like literally put his hand up. But and I get it. You got possessions that are at a premium. And that's where I'm like, if this was just run down and given the rock and it's not part of your normal offense, maybe not.
Exactly.
But if it's a situation where a couple times in a game, can he go and put some pressure on Karl-Anthony Towns as a
He can
defender?
out-power Cat in the low post.
And that's why I wish, because imagine if Karl-Anthony Towns got that fifth foul early in the third quarter.
Did a whole different ball
Well,
game.
then he might not have been on the floor to make that shot.
Right. A whole different ball game.
I know. I mean, and credit, man, Karl-Anthony Towns, you were brilliant, but
Right. Or maybe you get a bigger lead.
Absolutely.
Or maybe you get a bigger lead when Brunson went down.
No, absolutely.
So,
I know Chuck Brewer, he had mentioned that when I was talking about Ausar potentially being on the floor more in the fourth quarter, that Jalen Brunson's clutch player of the year, he's just making incredible shots. And that's true, but this is where I'm not saying that Ausar is the Brunson stopper. I think Brunson has proven enough to where he doesn't have a stopper, but you got to just try.
And I have a question for my guy, Matthew Kruger here. He says, I'm so tired of this tired A argument of Cade needs more help. I've been hearing it forever. Okay, then what exactly is Cade? I just want to know, what is the expectation? What is Cade supposed to do tonight to guarantee, from these people, to guarantee a Pistons win?
They're going to say
he needs to drop 40.
Yeah, he needs to drop 40. He's got to drop 45.
Okay, so you're saying then that you believe he is the next great thing next to sliced bread. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
These are the expectations. I just want them to understand what's in their mouth while they're talking.
Right.
That's it. It's like, do you realize what you're gargling right now? Two of them things.
Hey, yo.
Deuce, shout out to Cade Cunningham. That's what I'm saying. People are literally saying this. You can lay out exactly the lack of support he's getting right now from a really young players and a ragtag band of forgotten vets.
Yeah.
They said it themselves.
And I'm
JB Bickerstaff said it himself. He was like, bro, we've been through some ish, and nobody wanted us. Bro, Timmy helped the team get to the finals. And they said, hey, sayonara.
Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is. And now Cade has to do what? What is it? Matthew Kruger, let me know what he has to do in your mind. So if he doesn't need any more help, is he scoring 50?
Right.
The buckets ain't there right now.
Like,
is he scoring 60? Does he need to get what? He needs to get 20s in all the stat categories? Like
it's ridiculous. And I broke it down yesterday. Cade Cunningham, for his first playoff series, is averaging almost a triple-double. 26 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. The next closest person in points is Dennis Schroeder at 15 points. And Sam, you broke it down. Even somebody like a Julius Randle is going out there and giving you 22 and great three-point shooting.
Who a lot of people thought was done.
Cade needs more.
Yeah.
Like, we got to be real about it.
And credit, and for the record, Julius Randle, he's a level above like the Malik Beasleys of the world. He's been an all-star before, but he's been if you look at Julius Randle's playoff numbers prior to this year, they are vomit water. But this season, I mean, Does Ant-Man get all the credit for that or no? I think it's more of a team game. And shout out to Anthony Edwards. This is no slander. I actually believe that how the year ended, that Anthony Edwards should actually be above Cade in MVP voting, even though I kind of dismissed him earlier. I was wrong. This is not Anthony Edwards slander. It's just that you need more from your teammates. And I broke down numbers earlier. You're talking about the scoring numbers. And shout out Dennis Schroeder, by the way. I don't think we're giving him enough credit. But
he's been great.
More is needed from Beasley. More is needed from Duren.
Thank you.
More minutes is needed from Ausar Thompson, in my opinion. Granted, he's not in foul trouble. But the good news is there's still more series left. Do I think that the Pistons are going to come back and win? No, I do not. Do I think they could steal Game 5? Yes, I do. I do.
I do too. I believe that they're going to until you stick a fork in the Detroit Pistons. That's still gonna hold true to the Pistons in 7, no matter how bleak it's looking right now for them. And it's just because you've seen how razor thin and how close the series has been. We've also seen the Pistons go on some good streaks this year, but it's different playing a team. It's the same team night after night after night.
Right.
This isn't like, oh, you're just catching them on a second game of back-to-back. No, this is them being fully prepped, fully prepared, having a little bit more rest, and able to go and say, you know what, we're not tired tonight. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I know as it relates to this young team learning so that they can be even better going into future playoff series, whether it's this year or next year. That's where I want this squad to be able to understand, because they did come into this series believing they had a physical, tough advantage. And obviously that's what's Stu in there. But you know what? We've seen wild things happen before, and the Detroit Pistons have been involved. I remember one Tracy McGrady looking like Jared Goff, sitting back at the podium.
All right.
Feels good to finally get to the second round.
You're right.
And then one Tayshaun Prince emerged. I mean, you couldn't have called the strategy. We sitting here trying to strategize how to get. You couldn't have called it. And that's why I do wonder, when you're talking about the secondary ball handler, somebody we saw play well down the stretch who has not really been able to get a chance is Marcus Sasser. I wonder if he's a guy that they decide gets a little bit of time tonight.
Just a few minutes.
Just to see
because he can be a spark plug. Yeah,
I kind of want to see him playing alongside Cade.
No, absolutely.
And keep Schroeder as your main ball handler off the bench.
That's interesting.
And to give Cade a rest.
His 3-ball, I mean, you need it. That's
why.
What this team has been suffering from in this series is the lack of 3-point shooting that we had during the regular season. And that kind of leads me into my other key, Malik Beasley. We got to get something from you the rest of the series, if not, all tonight. Like, it's just been, and I admit I was wrong. I came up here and told y'all that we could possibly survive this series with Malik Beasley struggling the way he has, because you have 3-point shooting options in the form of Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Dennis Schroeder occasionally. But I've been wrong, and I will come up here and admit I was fucking wrong. You need Malik Beasley to be the Malik Beasley that he has been all season long, and kind of towards the end of game 4, you kind of started to see him come alive a little bit. I take a little bit of responsibility for that. Shout out, shout out brother Beasley, but he's got to be better, bro. Because you
answered the question. You cannot win with a Beasley slump.
Yeah, you can't win with him slumping like that.
And I feel like if you're Malik Beasley, you're going to hear what I'm about to say, and it should be embarrassing. And no disrespect to the player that I'm about to mention, even though I can't stand him. Have yourself. Brandon Pajemski gave the Warriors 26 on 6 of 11 from behind the arc. Beasley.
He has a special
You've got to
place on
have
this
one
show.
of those in you.
He was open.
You and Rod crashed out.
My guy.
I did. I can't stand Brandon Pajemski, but when he's on, shout out JV, the Warriors are, I wouldn't say they're unbeatable, but the Warriors survived a game in which Steph had 17 points on 2 of 8 from behind the arc. And I get it. Steph's a different animal, but teammates matter so much. And guys like Malik Beasley having such a disappointing series when we were basically caping for him to win 6th Man of the Year, should still do it, by the way.
Yeah.
That matters. Yeah. And people act like it's just, Cade's not a winner. Cade. You guys are whining about Cade's help. These are valid, bro.
Yeah. No,
and it's his first playoff series ever.
If Beasley was on, we'd be up 3-1. Yeah. I'm guarantee it. If he was on at any stretch of this series, we'd be up.
Because look at the premium on scoring in this series.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been a struggle, dog.
Yes.
Multiple games where the Knicks have been under 100 points in this thing.
Yeah. And he's had his attempts. Yes. He's had his attempts and good looks. He just hasn't made them.
You know what? Let's take a quick one, and maybe we'll take some calls in it.
Yeah, sure. We got some people calling in trying to field it now.
Wonderful. Let's ride. What friends we saying? What up, though, to JB? We'll double up.
We'll definitely double up. I got to tell them about Jars, and Flannel can tell them about Les Stanford. But first, let me shout out a lot of people sending in super chats real quick. RJ Graham, he sent in $5. He said he's going to the Tigers game in Houston, section 221, row 6, behind home plate club seats. Wife and I are wearing orange Riley green tees, so be on the lookout for them.
Excuse me, JB.
Oh, boy.
Excuse me. Matthew Kruger, you just don't watch basketball, and that's fine. You've admitted it. I'll break it down for you plain and simple. The Detroit Pistons as a team as a whole need to learn how to play some effing defense. They held the Knicks to 94 points a game.
I think they're the number 1 defensive rating team in the
exactly.
Do you want the Knicks to be held to 82, Kruger? Is that what you want?
I'm waiting for the update. The update's going to come from the listen. I'm going to put it out there. I'll tweet it out there as soon as it's updated. But I believe
that's crazy. You can look with your eyes and see they play a good defense.
I'm sorry. JB, go ahead. That's just point and laugh at Kruger for that. Seriously.
And shout out Matt Kruger, man. But you just
absolutely not.
Today's NBA 94 points is fucking unheard of, bro.
Insane.
Shout out Kruger. Shout out Matt Kruger. $5 from Bird. He said, if we go down, I want to go down with Cade taking 80 to 90% of the shots. I want him to put the league on notice that we're coming, just not yet. And I got to shout out this one, $4.99. from Nasty.
Shout out.
He said, less turnovers, be a goddamn playmaker, and stop playing sloppy as fuck. And that's
Easier
shout out to
said
those
than
picks.
done.
I know.
Yeah.
Easier said than done. Let me tell you about Jars Cannabis, because all right, sports fans, whether you're hitting the game or simply chilling at home, Jars Cannabis